Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you today? Ready for some news stories from askalawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP's dad, who bought a house for OP's brother with the money OP was giving him. Listen to the story to find out all the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My dad stopped working because of health problems a few years ago due to his work. He went to court and sued the place where he worked and got a settlement. Don't know the exact number, but it was somewhere over $400K. He wanted to save that money for the future since he can't do much physically, and it would be hard for him to work again. Myself, 32 male, and my 4 brothers started pitching in monthly to help with his rent and a few other bills. It really wasn't a problem for any of us because he does receive other benefits, and we earn a decent income. I never minded helping my dad, understanding the position he was in. Recently, we learned my dad has been helping my brother. He's the oldest out of all of us and has never done anything with himself. He was close to 30 when my mom kicked him out of their house due to him refusing to help with bills before she passed. He moved out of state, works at a new place every few months, has 3 kids he doesn't pay child support for, and anytime we hear from him, it's to ask us for money. My dad always had a soft spot for him and helped him no matter how much he asked for. Even if it's $5K he said he needed to catch up on rent that he ends up using to take a girlfriend on vacation. We've all cut him out of our lives, but I learned from my aunt that my dad purchased a house for him over a year ago, and he didn't want us to know about it. My dad still makes the mortgage payments. To say I was very pissed is an understatement. I couldn't believe all this time we were helping my dad out because he claimed he didn't want to use too much of that money due to not working. But here he was purchasing a house for our brother, who's done nothing but take money. I confronted my dad. His usual defense was my brother being down on his luck and needing help. So in the end, I told my dad I won't be helping out with him anymore, so he clearly has no problem using up his money. My brothers know about the situation. One is in agreement with me, but the others are on my case because my dad still needs help, and I can't turn my back on him. Even if I don't agree what he's using his money for, we should still help because he's our dad, and he did a lot for us. So now I'm not sure if I'm being an a-hole by pulling the plug on helping him out anymore. The money was for OP's dad to take care of himself. It's not to make life easy for OP's brother. Frankly, OP and the other brother should just tell him that he should just live with the brother considering he's paying for the house, and cut him off financially. Honestly, I think a lot of the shine of the lazy brother will come right off when the brother either refuses to live with the father or treats him like crap. And now let's hear if the community agrees with me. No one cares at 805 says, not the a-hole. If he can pay your brother's mortgage, and I'm betting other bills, then I'm sure he can pay his own. If anything, I would just set some money aside for him for a future emergency, but not tell anyone about it. Your siblings get to be mad, but at the end of the day, it's your money. If he's just going to give it to your other brother, then I feel like you cannot give your dad any money, or say something like, I'll help out, but I'm not giving him money. Instead, I'm going to pay this 1 or 2 bills. That way you know the money went towards actually helping your dad. Duck you, Gallon says. Not the a-hole. Because you aren't helping your dad. You're helping your brother. Your dad is just the middleman. Atorfa says. Not the a-hole. You're giving him money to help him as he has health issues impeding him from working. You're not giving him money to send to your brother for his vacations. Make a list of all the issues you have. Sit down with him and lay out all the reasons. If the family calls you an a-hole, then have a sit down with them all after a private one with your dad and address all their grievances. They are more than welcome to support your brother via your dad, both of whom are lying by omission about the money you send, specifically your dad for buying a house for your brother and hiding it. So I, 23 female, am an avid shopper, and I love to get things at estate sales in my area. I buy all my designer goods, most vintage, so it's amazing quality, from them, and they're a hidden gem, since barely any people even go to them in my area. So I've been able to find amazing things. I bought so much jewelry, clothes, furniture from estate sales that I later get appraised for thousands, while I spent $300 on it max. I've been able to find amazing things for a cheap price. I love to decorate my condo with the things I buy and make sure all my extremely expensive things are kept safe in a storage unit. Once I buy a house in the next upcoming years is when I will bring them out. I went to an estate sale this summer and bought mostly clothes and also a beautiful vase. I bought it for $40 and it didn't look expensive to me, But another collector friend of mine saw it in the background of one of my stories and asked me where I got it from and said it looked like a vintage vase he's been looking for. I went and got it appraised, and come to find out, it's worth $3,500. I made sure to get its authentication as well. I did leave it in my bookcase and decided to keep it as decoration, even though I typically put expensive furniture, decor, in my storage unit. This week, my boyfriend, 30 male, came over and unexpectedly brought his 10-year-old son. He lives in New York City with his mom, and he has him during the summer. But he came back to stay with my boyfriend for a bit, since his mom just had a baby that was in the NICU. I didn't mind since his son is nice and has never damaged anything of mine. When his dad and I were cooking in the kitchen, he was watching TV in my living room. All of a sudden, I hear a crash, and we run into the living room to see my new vase shattered. His son started crying, saying he wanted to see a book I had in my bookshelf, and saw the vase and thought it looked cool and touched it, and it fell. His dad reassured him and saying it's okay, he'll replace it, and to make sure he's not hurt. I was upset, but said it was okay and kept my composure. Later, I spoke to him when he came over alone, and we agreed he's to pay me back. He asked me how much it is, and I said it's worth $3,500. He raised an eyebrow and asked how much I paid, since he knows I always find things at the sales, and I was honest and said $40. He told me he would pay me the $40, and I said absolutely not. Just because the woman that sold it to me didn't know its true price doesn't mean I don't, and if I ever sold it, I would charge its appraised worth. So he needs to pay me back the appraised price. He's not hurting for money. He makes $800K a year. I make $200K, so I'm not asking him as if I don't have money. It's the principle. Since his son broke it, he should pay the appraised price. He sent me the money but was upset, saying I'm an a-hole since I got it for so much cheaper. Am I the a-hole? By his logic, he wouldn't have to pay to replace something OP inherited or got as a gift, since OP didn't pay for it. Well, I think OP's boyfriend should just replace the vase, and that would solve the issue. Then he would see himself that it's not impossible to find the same vase for $40. But of course, if OP finds a replacement for $40 or $400, then she should return the excess cash to him. But the only thing OP knows now is that the vase was worth $3,500, so it's what he has to give her. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Ampuleg says, not the a-hole. His son broke it. It doesn't matter how much it cost you initially. If you said you wanted it to be replaced or to purchase one similar, it would cost you $3,500. It's the value of the item and the price your boyfriend has to pay. Insurers would love to be able to pay the initial purchase price for antiques, etc., but have to pay the valuation, replacement price. Why should your boyfriend be any different? Edit. Ask him if he would be happy to accept the initial purchase price of his home from an insurer, or would he expect to receive the present-day market-valued price? I'm sure we all know what his answer would be. So, no difference whether it be a house or a vase. JSeek4 says, yes, you're the a-hole. Avid shopper, not a biz. If I ever sold it and appraised value aren't the same as for sale or what one could get for it. Can't go wrong treating friends and family like you'd want to be treated, especially a nice kid who took it badly. As far as principles go, this feels like turning a kid's accident into a money grab. Maleficent Day says, I mean, the issue is you wanted to make money off your boyfriend. I would just ask, where's the grace? Like, if you love someone, you should have grace with them. I don't think you're an a-hole, but I also don't think you really love your boyfriend or his son. Just saying. I, 25, inherited my grandma's house after she died. We were incredibly close. I spent every weekend with her, and she heavily influenced me to study what I do now, forensics, as that was what she would have done had she the opportunity. She always told me that she was going to give me her house when she was gone, a 3-bedroom. I have 4 other cousins on my grandma's side, from my uncle, but they don't live in my country. All of them got some amount of her money, but nothing material like I did. Except for Molly, 28 female, who got nothing, as she never phoned my grandma, never thanked her for gifts, ignored her altogether, didn't go to her funeral either. I live in the house as I don't have the money to rent, and honestly, it has a lot of good memories for me. I do live alone, but I don't mind too much. Last week, Molly came to our city unexpectedly. No one else in my family knew except for maybe her siblings. She went to my great-aunt originally to ask for good places to stay, and was then pointed over to me. She asked me if she could stay with me for the duration of her being in the city, and I refused. I told her that she had the audacity to come to me and ask to stay in our grandma's old house, when she hadn't spoken to me in over 15 years, and when she hadn't even gone to the funeral. She told me I was being unreasonable and that it wasn't right to hold the past against her when she wanted to regain a bond. Grandma died 6 years ago. I told her that I had no interest in a bond with her and sent her away. Issue is, no one else in the family has room for her, and now I'm getting ganged up on by my great aunt and her side, who all think I'm being petty and should let her stay just to see what happens. Maybe something good. I don't agree, and Molly has been staying in a hotel since she showed up. They haven't stopped whining to me though, and one of my cousins, Molly's brother, who I'm close to, phoned me and asked me to give her a chance. I firmly refused. I don't know. Am I being unreasonable? Am I the a-hole? Edit. Molly is staying for a few months. Don't know the reason. I'm not interested and haven't asked. This is like if OP let someone she barely knows manipulate her into staying with OP in her house. I'm sorry this sounds like a difficult position, but to me it's clear that she shouldn't be allowed to stay. She's not entitled to a place because OP is her cousin. Hard nope. And now let's hear the community's opinion. I am hurting Kat says, not the a-hole. If the rest of the family is so excited about Molly, she can stay with them. You know that if she gets her foot in your door, you'll need the jaws of life to get her back out, right? Tessa Komoda says, not the a-hole. Do not let her stay for a single day and check all mail religiously. Depending on where you live, one letter or bill, just one, with her name but your address, is enough to establish tenancy, and you have to do the whole eviction process, costing you time, nerves, money. If possible, inform the post office in registered writing that, at the moment, only you live there, and any mail not for you is someone trying to commit a fraud, a crime. If there is the slightest chance that anyone has a key, either you gave it to them or they had it since God knows when Grandma gave it to them. Change all locks. Do not ask for the key back. Why? Aunt, I'm coming round to get my key. Sure, honey, but I'm not at home right now. Maybe in 3 hours. Puts on jacket and dashes to a locksmith to make a copy. On second thought, change the locks nevertheless. Better safe than sorry. Baker Normal says, not the a-hole. She will never leave. What if this is all a ruse? Little by little, another member of the family or relative will come knocking on your door, asking for a place to stay, and next thing you know, you got squatters. My mom, 48 female, is married to her husband, 50 male. I kinda grew up with him around and he sort of saw me as his daughter, but it wasn't mutual. I'm very clear with him that he's not my father, never will be. My bio dad passed away in January 2021. My parents divorced when I was 1 year old. I used to live with him, but when he passed away, I moved with my mom. Yesterday we went to church, mom, husband, and I. After church, we went out to eat. After eating, my mom said she had to return some chair covers she had borrowed. On the way to the lady's house, I started talking about how one of my friends is going to be homeschooled next school year. I was telling my mom my thoughts on it. My mom said I might see things differently than her because she was raised with both her parents together, and she's used to them always agreeing on decisions of her life. On the other hand, I didn't. I grew up with my parents separated, and they both had their own beliefs religiously and about discipline. While my mom was talking about me, her husband butted in and interrupted her. He started going on about how my dad was an a-hole and a terrible person. He said my dad didn't care about me or my sister, and said he just had us for money and to spite my mom. I told him to stop talking about my dad, and he continued. I gradually got louder and shouting at him to stop saying these terrible things about my dead father. He paused, and I paused. Then, he had the audacity to tell me that I wasn't allowed to talk about my dad in the house. I immediately started yelling again, talking about how I'm going to talk about my dad whenever I damn want to. My mom was silent, didn't say a word. She didn't say anything to either of us. When my mom got out of the car to return the chair covers, her husband looked at me in the back seat and told me, "Don't ever speak about your dad in my presence or in my house again." I immediately went off again, going on about how I'm going to talk about my dad when I want. He has no say over when or how I grieve my dead father. He then raised his voice at me and started saying a lot of bad things about my dad. I blurred out and yelled, "Stop!" at the top of my lungs. He was still trying to yell over me, saying terrible things about my dad. So I grabbed my bag and stormed out the car, and I started walking. I only walked a block before they found me and dragged me into the car. The ride home was silent. When we got home, I went straight to my room and didn't talk to them for the rest of the day. This morning, I told my mom I'm going to ignore him until he apologized. She said I should be the bigger person and do it myself. I shouldn't be the one to apologize, because when I talk about my dad, it's to grieve him. I miss my dad so much, and I don't think I'm ever going to not miss him. Him talking bad about my dad made me upset, because I don't want to hear these bad things about him. My last memory of my dad is a good one, and I don't want it to be ruined, especially by him. Am I the a-hole? Tina Belcher's Pony says, "The a-hole is your mother. She needs to put that man in his place." Pickle Lips says, "Not the a-hole. I wonder where your stepfather obtained his theories on your dad." The easy answer is your mom, who is suspiciously silent. I'm sorry you're going through this. I don't know how much time you have left in their household. Do your best to stay focused on the best things in your life and ignore all the drama your mom and stepfather are creating. Please Call Me Rain says, "Since you're 15, this is a pretty age-appropriate reaction. You should learn from this though. Yelling at someone doesn't make them see your perspective or stop their bad behavior, because the man your mother married is a total a-hole. He'll probably do this again. When he does, do you want to repeat this experience? Or do you want to correct him, walk away, and try to enjoy the rest of your night? Oh, and you definitely don't owe him an apology." I, 32 female, am caught up in a family feud that's tearing us apart, all because I won't let my entitled sister, 28 female, have her way with my vacation home. So here's the deal. I have this stunning vacation home by the beach that I've worked my butt off for years to acquire. It's my little slice of paradise, a place where I can unwind and escape the chaos of everyday life. Enter my sister, who has always had a knack for thinking the world revolves around her. She has been entitled to have everything since the day she was born. To taking my toys and me not having a say because sisters should share. To my high school boyfriend cheating on me with her. Her explanation: he liked her more than me because she was prettier. Recently, she came to me with the request of using my vacation home for an entire month. She expects me to just hand over the keys to my hard-earned property, like it's some kind of free hotel. Naturally, I couldn't fathom the entitlement dripping from her words. I tried to explain the vacation home holds a lot of sentimental value to me, and that I'm not in the business of giving handouts. I expect her to pay rent for the month that she stays there. But does she understand? Of course not. She threw a massive tantrum, accusing me of being selfish, heartless, and all sorts of colorful names. What infuriates me even more is that she has the means to afford her own vacation rental, but she's too cheap to spend her money on anything other than designer clothes and extravagant nights out. Yet she has the audacity to come running to me, expecting me to foot the bill for her luxurious beach getaway. The fallout from this argument has been catastrophic. Our family is divided, with some accusing me of being a stingy control freak, while others applaud my refusal to enable my sister's entitled behavior. So, Reddit, I ask you, am I the a-hole? Should I stand my ground and protect what's rightfully mine, or should I cave in to keep the peace within our family? I'm ready to hear your brutally honest judgment. FSU Fan 35 says, "Absolutely not the a-hole. She and your family have made no contributions to your vacation home. Tell her if she attempts to access it, you will get law enforcement involved. I would recommend getting a set of security cameras for the home as well." Flomo Joe Blow says, "Personally, petty little me wouldn't even offer to rent it to her for the month, because she sounds like the type of person who wouldn't take care of it and wouldn't appreciate it." With Silver Wing says, "Not the a-hole. She is removing your ability to use your vacation home for a month. Of course she should pay. Look up average Airbnb rentals in the area, and that's what a month's rent should be.